All right, here's a nice question to solve. So this is be a quadratic inequality. So, and when you see inequalities, automatically think in your mind that this is going to be a range of numbers. So I'm not going to have at the end x equals 2. It's going to be a range of numbers. So it'll be like x is greater than 2 or x is less than some other kind of number. So we're looking at a range of numbers. Okay, so the instructions in the book tell us to treat this thing here as an equal sign and then solve the equation. So this equation here is already factored. It's a quadratic. I've got, I guess, 3 factors, but the 3 we can disregard because 3 doesn't equal 0. So we're using the 0 property. So this times this equals 0. One of them's got to be 0. The 3 on the outside, you can say 3 equals 0, but that's not true. So I can cancel that out. Or x plus 1 equals 0. I didn't need that bracket. Or x minus 4 equals 0. In this case here, x would be equal to -1, and here x will be equal to 4. Now remember, I just replaced that for a second, that inequality with an equal sign, just so we could solve the thing. But now what we do with these points here is that they are points on a graph. So if I have a graph here, x equals -1 right about there, x equals +4, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 right about there. So my graph goes through those 2 points. Now here they're saying, when is this stuff here less than or equal to 0? So on my graph, I want to know when that stuff is less than 0, or when is y less than or equal to 0. So it has to be below here. Because this is a quadratic and this is positive, I know that the graph looks like this. Something like that. You can test some points if you want. Like if you wanted to, you could maybe test 0. 0 would be a nice point. If I put a 0 in, my answer better be negative. Let's try it. So 3 times 0 plus 1 times 0 minus 4. Is that less than or equal to 0? Okay, 0 plus 1 is 1 times 3 times a -4. I multiply that stuff, I get -12. Is -12 less than or equal to 0? Yes. Oh, 0. Yes. Therefore, 0 is in the range that I want. It's a solution to this original equation. So anything between here and here is a solution to the equation. So what I would say then is that my answer has to be in between -1 and a +4. An easy way to do that in interval notation would be to say, now it's equal to, so I'll put a square bracket. So I'm starting at -1, and it includes -1, and I go all the way up to a +4, including +4. So this would be known as interval notation, and that's a way I could write the solution to that question. Or I could say -1 is my first one, and so my x's are, or -1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to a +4. So you could say something like your answer are all the x's as long as -1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 4. Okay, and that's sort of set notation is the name of that stuff. So either of those two. Okay, hopefully that helps with that question.